Hello, my name is Ali Yousefi. Welcome to the Test Automation and EasyRepro series. In this edition of Automating EasyRepro, we're going to review test results. We'll discuss exploring test runs, exploring the correlating results files, creating a bug from a test run, perform a demo, and leave with some references. So test runs in Azure DevOps expose the runs from the VS test task that we ran earlier. You want to select runs in the Azure Test Plans pane to get started, located over here in the bottom left. Once you see that, you'll be able to query by run IDs. You'll be able to look at recent runs or even recent exploratory sessions. This image on the right here is showing kicking off from a build pipeline, reviewing the VS task, and clicking on the results here. For exploratory sessions, this is where a QA tester could go into, say, Dynamics and navigate around and do some testing, maybe take screenshots using the test and feedback extension and create bugs that may not have been known in the past. So you can click on those and actually see the work items that were created and follow along with any sort of recordings, from screen recordings, voice, video, images, and so on. So when you choose a run, you'll be prompted with the Run Summary tab at the beginning. You'll see at the top left, you'll have a summary of just information about the build and release and settings. So you see run type, owner, tested build, release stage, what platform the build was on, any sort of settings that are there. On the right, you will see some charts and graphs that kind of show the analysis of the outcomes by configuration, failure types, priority, and so on. In the bottom left, you'll see any sort of attachments. So this will typically include the TRX file, and then if you're taking any screenshots of any automated testing, that will show up there as well. By moving over to the second tab called Test Results, we can see each one of the tests that ran in this test run. In this image below, you can see there's actually 2 tests here that failed and 2 that succeeded. We'll have a duration, a title, error message. This table here is configurable, so you can add and remove columns as needed. And you can see you can also filter by certain types. So maybe we want to look at only failed tests or past tests or ones that maybe didn't run or weren't impacted. We could select from this pick list here and filter this. When we reviewed the individual tests, we had the option to click into a failed test, for instance, and see things here like I'm showing here, which will allow us to end up creating a bug. What we can see is we have a summary of the test. We see what machine it failed on. We see what build it was part of. Any sort of an analysis here with the owner or the failure type. You'll see there's an error message we got, right? So we got this test is expected to fail to provide content for the build results. We have the stack trace. As you see, at the top, there's a button that says bug. You can click on that. You can create a new bug or actually link it to an existing bug. So at the bottom here, I have the linked bug here. So the bug ID is 53, and I can see that it failed. And when I created the new bug, I was prompted with this window, and it put the name of the test inside of the title as well as the build. Added it to the support team area, and added the description, including the test, the test name, the error message, and the stack trace here, and the test file, which is key. You can see this had an issue on line 54, which will help us debug. So for this demo of automating EasyRepro, we're going to cover reviewing a test run and creating a bug from a failed test. Welcome to this demo of automating EasyRepro. In this demo, we're going to review a test run and we're going to create a bug from a failed test. Okay, as you see here, I've navigated to the test plans area and clicked on runs. I have the option to choose recent test runs, expand this test runs, or look at exploratory sessions I've had. In this case, we'll run or look at a recent test run here, number 78. You can see I have my summary here, so I've run, see, looks like 4 tests with 2 that failed and 2 that succeeded. Different configurations, failure types, and so on. And I have my attachment here, which you can see is the TRX file. We'll look at that in a second. So let's click on our test results. We can see that we've had 4 tests here, 2 that passed, 2 that failed. Sort by outcome. So we can take this one here, this UCI test open active account, and dig into it a little bit. And you can see that inside of here, I have, what machine it failed on, who is run by, what tested build, the owner, and so on. But I have the error message, the stack trace, any sort of attachments would be a part of it. You can see now there's no bugs associated to this one. So if I ran this test run and I came up with failed test, I could go in and review this, and if I decided to, I could create a bug by clicking on this button here and say create a bug. And it auto-populates the name of the test that failed and the build, gives me the test, the error message, and the stack trace here. You can see it's added to the backlog for this area. In my case, I'm going to add it to my support team for them to work on. You can see I have this over here as well. So I can go ahead and say save. And this creates issue 78. You can see there's a little comment here if we want. And if I'm interested, I can go ahead and follow it. Different attachments. You can see it actually ties it to the test results and test itself. So I can go click back here. Go look at all of this here with history, attachments, and so on. It's history with the branches that was part of. See, it's part of develop branch here. And here's my actual build, as you see, with the failed test here. And there we go. So let's go look at test file. You see here in test file, we have these guys. There's my test file. So I can click on this test here and see the attachments. Here's the DRX file. Go ahead and download that. You can see here. I'll open the file. And just resizing Visual Studio. All right, I've resized Visual Studio. You can see that in the test results here, it actually loaded the TRX file, so I can go into each one and look and see what happened. I can see the test run name, the start time, the end time, what was the error message, and the stack trace. So if I needed to go, if there's maybe something wrong with the unit test itself, I'd go correct it. If there was something thrown by, say, Dynamics, you'd go report on that as well. Shows the duration here and so on. I can even look at the ones that passed, and so on. All right, for one final piece of the demo, I thought it was important to show the REST API for the Azure DevOps test plans. You can see here I've added my org, my project here, and the ID of the run we have. So this was 78 here. And you can see what's nice about it is it shows me which build this was part of here with the URL to it. So if I wanted to at any time, I could make this call and go see what I have here. I can see the total test, which ones passed and what was unanalyzed, and be able to actually dig into each test and find out more about it. So this is helpful if you want to, say, monitor or go back and look at some sort of history of your test to see kind of what's the delta or what's been changed since you last ran. That's it for this demo. Thank you. All right, well, that concluded our demo. I'm going to leave with some references, including the EasyRepro GitHub repository and a link to the REST API call that we demoed earlier the get test run by ID. I think on a final note, it's important to make note of the fact that failing tests are actually a good thing. They help us understand what's going on and where there may be any issues. So I wouldn't necessarily look at failed test as a bad thing. They actually succeeded at the job they were designed to do. A quote that I like that I think is helpful sometimes to reflect on is from James Joyce, which is, "Mistakes are the portals of discovery." Thank you for watching this edition of the Test Automation and EasyRepro series. You can find my contact information in the slide here, as well as in the description below. Thanks.